Radio Gold, 90.5 FM, live on the live. Now it starts. Radio Gold.
Yes.
Okay. Well, let me take it first from a very religious point of view. God was very wise and kind with this country, and so it endowed us with the riches of gold and other minerals. I don't think it was for nothing that God gave us those minerals. God meant that we should exploit those minerals wisely, so that it will be at to the benefit of its people. So I think our endowment is good. It is a blessing, and we should exploit this endowment to the benefit of all of us. Now, if we are not wise and we don't exploit that well and we don't use the benefit well, that is our problem. So for me, general, that's how I see it. And if you look at the industry in general, I mean, sometimes it has become what I've described as the hunter's food. Sometimes people want the game of the hunter, but they don't like the dressing of the hunter. In a way, the industry has helped the country somehow, but has also posed a lot of challenges. I mean, if you look at the macroeconomic level, the mining sector is one of the leading sectors that generate regular revenue for the country, and no government can wish it away. Again, if you talk about foreign exchange, for about over 20 years, the industry has led in terms of the supply of foreign exchange into the country. And a lot of the infrastructure development that you see may have also come up because of mining. Sometimes you don't have the name tagged on it, so you will not see. So basically, you have had this macroeconomic benefit, if you like. But at the level of the impact, it becomes questionable whether people have benefited enough from the blessings of minerals. That's what we need to debate. And I'm talking about benefit. I mean benefit in terms of people's life improving, and in terms of maintaining a good environment for the exploitation of the mineral. So that would be my opening statement. I would say that it is the hunter's game, as always. I say it. The Ghanaians have a song. I mean, when I was a kid, there was a folk song that said, "They didn't kwayo a job of warning kwayo me there." To which that when the hunter's game comes, I really enjoy it, but I have difficulty with the way he dresses.
Very interesting, because there are two sides to this issue that you just raised. The issue of whether we have reaped maximum benefit from the mining sector, and then there's the bigger issue of the emerging menace that is wreaking havoc on our land, among others. And I think that's what is occupying the mind of the dialogue that the president and the government held somewhere earlier this week. The issue of the impact of mining on the environment. You have been you've worked at the Minerals Commission before. What do you think the problem is?
Well, just back from the point that I started, we are blessed with so much gold that almost everywhere you go, you find gold. And the mining of this mineral is not as complex as it would be, at a small scale level. So anyone who has challenges of employment, and here I must emphasize that if you look at those who are involved in this type of business, you go there, you look at them, the way they dress, the kind of drudgery they go through, it is quite clear that it is not just a child's play. Nobody will just go and be involved in that except because he has to survive. But again, there are those who, who are also looking for extra income. They are not in any want, they are not in any serious want, but they want some more money as an increased wealth. So these are the people who are involved in that. So the challenge is that because it is easier to go into it, people go without getting the requisite permit and licenses. Additionally, there are challenges with getting, I mean, the process of getting legitimated, getting the license and all that. So this combined to create a situation of illegality. In fact, there are those who, whether you give them the license or not, they want to operate illegally. So these are the people who are there, and these are the challenges that we see. Now, this is also exacerbated by the fact that politicians haven't made life easier. There's obvious involvement of politicians. It's been spoken about. We know it. We've seen it, or at least we've heard about that. And then there's also the issue of sometimes when actions are taken, you have people coming back to say, look, these are our people. These are they are our brothers. They are part of our party. So let's go easy and all that. So they have combined to create to exacerbate the problem. I recall, and I keep repeating this, so it becomes an overdrummed information, that during election time, in fact, at the nick of elections, you often hear political party leadership, sometimes presidential candidates, their vice presidential candidates, and MPs, parliamentary candidates, going out there to say that, look, if you vote for me, I will make sure that we will enhance Galamsey, not even the legal one. Sometimes they say we will help you to do your illegal mining, and we heard the president during his campaign in 2016 when he said that, look, people say he's against Galamsey, but that he is the one who is going to strengthen Galamsey. And then immediately afterwards, he came trying to address it. This may not be the first time. I mean, I've heard some candidates in Prestia who have gone to say Prestia is Galamsey and Galamsey is Prestia. He didn't say even Prestia is small-scale mining and small-scale mining is Prestia. So these are all the complex web of issues that really make the issue of illegal mining very, very stressing for the country.
Really serious economic issue, and the fact is that gold is quite an expensive commodity, and if it's easy for us to find in Ghana, then how do we regulate?
You see, for the regulation of it, let me say that in the large-scale sector, we have been largely successful. You do not see too many situations of environmental destruction that is not being rehabilitated at the level of the large-scale company. Let's be clear about that. The control there is a bit better. EPA is able to control Minerals Commission, and it's only because the numbers are not much. We have only about 16 large-scale mining companies in this country, so it is easy to control. Now we have a myriad of small-scale operators spread across the country. So it's difficult for humans to go around asking them to stop and all that. So I have proposed, and in fact it was proposed during the NDC era. These are most of the things that were done, that we should first of all recategorize the mining system. Now, mining is the only economic activity in the country where we move from small scale to large scale. There's no medium scale, but we speak about SMEs, small and medium scale enterprises. So I think we need some in between. And the benefit of that proposal is that you will be able to consolidate most of the small scale miners together and then have different regulations around them, including bringing in technical people as a requirement for the grant of license. So you will consolidate them, and then they become fewer. I mean, they will still be working, but they become fewer in terms of numbers, and it's easier to regulate them. I know that when the government came, they were talking more about buying drones to monitor and all that. My question at that time was that drone will not resolve the problem, because the drones will just go around to see that people are doing illegal mining. So when they go and see and they come and report, what else? That is the question. Now, so that is one problem. I think we should recategorize so that we can have a handle around it. Second thing is that we should employ a lot of technology to actually manage that area. there are areas where you see major excavators, big machines, and all that. I am not saying that these machines are not supposed to be used in small scale mining, because the law doesn't say that this machine or that machine should be used. But I'm saying these are the most destructive of our lands. So if a land has not been granted for small scale mining, that machine should not go there. So if you see a machine of that nature working in an area that has not been granted and they are not using that machine for road construction or building, it will be doing something that is not desirable. So you can track all these machines. When we were there, we had some collaboration with the DVLA. We also did some study which indicated that technology exists where you can link you may have a geospatial link with these equipment, so that when they are being used on the ground that is not dedicated for mining, even at the office you will see it, and then you can disable that machine. Now we have to come in with some technological way of controlling it. Once you try to use human, you're bound to fail. So I am of the view that too much human intervention does not work. Remember, we had the soldiers going around. Normally when they go, they will do the good thing or the right thing for a day or two. The next time then they go, they now become aligned with those people who are producing this high value, low volume product. You know, they do that because the soldier man goes there, or the policeman goes there. He goes there in good faith. They try to stop things, and after a while, they become aligned. Because if you go to a mining area or a Galamsey site, and the guy tells you that, look, please don't disturb me, don't do anything. I'll give you every month, and this is what somebody has told me before. Every month you can be sure of 10,000. I say every 2 weeks you can be sure of 10,000 cedis from me. What would you do? You first look at your Bible, and the Bible will talk to you about your religion, and then look at your pocket and whether your pocket will tell you not to take it. You see, so reduce the human intervention, and so that's another way. The other way is to educate. We should still continue to educate the people. We should let them know the dangers, because in fact the impact of the negative side of mining is really having a toll on our water bodies, on cocoa production and all that. So that's important. If we're able to do all these things, including ensuring that our politicians don't come in grotesquely to destroy this thing, then we can see some changes. It may not go away completely, but we can see some reductions.
Very fantastic proposals there. But let me then take you to 2017. Because when this government came into power, there was a whole dialogue and discussion around the kind of impact small-scale mining was having on the environment. And then there was a whole series of combat that started. It was a whole fight against Galamsey. There was a ban on small-scale mining, and then the soldiers moved in. We're engaged in a long fight against Galamsey. We are here today. But what do you make of the way that whole issue has been handled from 2017 till now when we are having the dialogue?
Well, I don't know the intention of the president at that time, and I would hope that he meant well. So he probably wanted, and every leader in the country in the past, since Rawlings' time, when small scale mining and illegal mining came to a head, they've done their own bit. I believe in good faith to try and stop illegality or reduce the impact of the small scale mining. So I will give it to him that he probably meant well, but the approach was wrong. When you have in mind an action to be taken, you must have a solution in mind. And I can bet you that at the time they were stopping this, they were trying to stop Galamsey. I was part. I mean, I was in the office at that time, so I saw that. I don't think there was anything in the hand to try and replace what we are trying to stop. And I think that was a problem. We created a vacuum. The second thing is that instead of stopping the illegalities around it, instead of attacking the illegality, I think we rather attack the whole sector to the extent that those who were doing it properly, some who were going through a process of being certified for premium and all that. They were all gambled together as one, and I think that was a problem. If I had the power to change anything, I would have just separated the good ones and showcased them that, look, if you did the good ones, we won't do anything to you. But if you do the good one, you will have benefit from that. But they were all gambled together, and I think that was another problem. Now, the use of force. In 2013, if you would recall, the government of the day applied force. They used the military to stop them. Immediately, we saw the dangers with the use of force. So that was stopped immediately. And I know at the time, there were some people, some politicians on the other side who described the use of force to stop small-scale mining or illegal mining as state terrorism. I know somebody described that as state terrorism. So I think the use of force for a long time is not a good thing. I thought they would do a show of force. You show force for a month, let the people know that, look, you're not going to allow them to do the illegalities, and then maybe once in a while you fly some military helicopter around, you are not going to shoot anybody though. People will know that, look, government means well. But once you send the military there for how many years? Almost a year. And the military, they are not trained to kill cows. They are not trained to shoot at animals. They are trained to fight, to do a combat work. So I think the over-reliance on the military to stop the Galamsey was a wrong approach. And then the fact that we didn't have any solution in mind, because, if you are stopping something, there must be something that you have to replace it. It took 2 years or more for this to stop, and up to now, there hasn't been any solution. So I think that's where we all went wrong. But it was at a time when there was a huge goodwill. The whole country was behind the president. The media was hugely behind the president. All of us wore dresses. We had our chest carrying Stop Galamsey and all that. So I think we got it wrong around that time.
And so that failure has to live with us. 4 years on, the turbidity levels of the water, the rivers are still the same. Nothing has really changed. There has been accusations that once the government officials drove out the small-scale miners, they took over the concessions and started mining. There were even accusations that some of them were even mining forest reserves, among others. Now, should we then assume that, having called this whole dialogue, the president and his government are admitting that perhaps we got it wrong?
I mean, I have said it elsewhere, and I want to repeat this. Personally, I think the dialogue was a waste of time, especially because I don't think they came up with anything that is not known. We have known this, the challenges of small-scale mining or illegal mining for a very long time. I think we have to be careful not to even conflate illegal mining with small-scale mining. But be it as it may, we know the challenges. In fact, in 2017, we had a national dialogue. We had a major dialogue in Alisa and another one at Takwa. So it wasn't new. And experts have done a lot of studies. Some of us have even written about them. So the solution was not for the 2 days where you sat and then had everybody there. I mean, not everybody, actually. Not everybody. Had some people there to talk about it. However, you may also credit them that they are creating the awareness, that it was a forum for the president to also say that, look, now, instead of me going it alone like it started previously, instead of just doing it, so let's do a national dialogue. So this is different from the previous approach where it was maybe a partisan dialogue. So in that same sense, you can give them the credit. I'm not sure there was any novel idea that came. Not because the people there didn't know what to do, but the solutions will be what they will be repeating. Those who knew the solutions, they repeated the same thing. I don't recall any single thing that came that was so novel that we couldn't have, proposed. We couldn't have worked out a solution without a dialogue. But maybe, a forum is always a forum. You got people together, you get people to interact, and that's not a bad thing too. So, but generally, I think the forum was, personally, I think it was a complete waste of time.
Would it, in any way, based on the you're talking about the solutions that have been brought up by this particular forum, you look at the solutions that have been proposed, you look at perhaps what the president said at the forum, because that is an indication of his commitment to perhaps going ahead and using some of the proposals from the forum, and what he said about prosecution of government officials who are involved in Galamsey or illegal mining, among others. Do you get the impression that this forum will change anything?
There's the sweetness of the pardon lies in the eating. So we have to see it being eaten before we know the sweetness of it. Otherwise, there have been several information. There have been party members who have come out to confess that there were requests for party to generate money, and therefore some party officials must have concession to mine. It was also clear, and the media came out with a lot of information, that as there was a ban on small-scale mining, some people were working, to the extent that some people were working in the forest. So for me, maybe Mr. President must show some action. Sometimes you don't need to beat all your people. You can beat one of them. Just take one and flip flip him or her, and then people will know that you are serious. But if you don't, and you just talk about it, and you say, "Oh look, you need to give me evidence," it is difficult for anybody to come up to report a minister with fact that is involved in this type of activity, which is illegal. It is like, I made this analogy. If you went to the church, and the church president's daughter was having a wedding with another person, the couple were having a wedding, and then the pastor says, "Look, these guys are going to marry. If you have anything, come and say it here, or forever hold your peace." I am sure people will be smart to hold their peace rather than report anything. So I think Mr. President should look for some other way of getting the corporate, maybe what he hears about them from the media. Recently, the Joy FM went to one of the mining areas where they were not supposed to mine, and it was on TV, and they were turned back. They were turned back. So what evidence should we show again? So I think Mr. President would look for the evidence around him more than anybody else coming up to him and say, "Mr. President, I've seen a politician or a party man or a minister doing this, so punish him."
Does it also demonstrate that particular language? Is it a demonstration of an unreadiness to actually crack the whip when it comes to people within his government?
I don't know. I can't say that, but I haven't seen much evidence to the contrary. I mean, I am aware of incidents where somebody said, I want to have 2 million or 1 million in my position, and before long she was gone. I am aware of someone whose ministry there was a bad branding issue. Before long, the minister was gone, but I haven't seen anything in this present dispensation. So I don't know whether the president means well, or like he will crack the hip on his people or not. But that is what he has said. So I'm not him. So let's only believe that he will do what he says. But the history is not too supportive of that position.
Your proposals were clear, but if we are to perhaps maybe use the dialogue as perhaps a fresh start, what do you expect to see to convince you that we will really mean business and will win this fight, at least to improve our environment?
Yes. Well, there should be clear, a clear roadmap, clear workable roadmap, either coming out of the dialogue or based on other information that is there. I can say for a fact that there is a lot of information. MMIP started working and started gathering a lot of information. In our time when I was at the commission, we did a lot. And of course, these things are there. They are not like hidden. They are codified. They are recorded there. So you can always go through them and sit down and look at what works and then show the winnable steps, the discernible steps that everybody will see that, look, you mean business. It is not enough. It is not enough to send the military there for people to know that you are doing the work, because I was in Aubyn the other time and they were complaining about the death of some innocent children because of this issue, and elsewhere you hear about that. So I think the president or the ministry, and I somehow have some confidence in the current minister, and so I am hoping that they would come up with some workable blueprint, roadmap that everybody will see and will say, oh, look, this is likely to. In fact, if that thing had been there and there was a national dialogue to present, I would have supported that. You have this clear, well rehearsed blueprint, well researched roadmap, and then you call people together and say, look, this is what I intend to propose. What do you think? Let us discuss. Then that would be an easy, workable, more acceptable solution. Until I see that, I will still remain the skeptics that I am in this particular respect. I'm normally a hopeful person, but in this particular sense, I want to see a few moves to be comfortable.
There's the issue of the new concept. I don't know whether it's new because you've been there, so perhaps you can educate me better, of community mining. What do you make of that?
The idea of community mining is not bad, but the way it's been couched is horrible. And I've had the chance of going. Some of them, in fact, most of the community minings are not working. They are not. If you go to Body and all those places, most of them are not working. But again, the structure, because it has become a political thing, because the chairman or the leader of the community mining is a DC who is a partisan person anyway. If you look at the executive of most of the community mining, it may either be a party chairman who is still the chairman of the community mining, or a party something, and it is quite exclusionary. It is not inclusive. You go there, you can find out those who are there, where they belong, and either they have to lie or something before they can get access to it. So I think the idea of a national dialogue and trying to give the whole national identity is probably better. As it is now, it's really something else, because it's most of these are being controlled by partisan individuals.
Let me read a message to you from one of the people who is watching us on via Facebook this evening. His name is Wudeduje, based in the UK. Says, if it's a regular revenue generator, why are the towns that we have been mining from still poor? A lot of questions are being raised at this time, that the difficulty now in getting people to just perhaps look at the environment and say, oh, in the interest of Ghana, we are backing off, is that a lot of the young people there, you talked about unemployment, the deplorable economic conditions of the areas, among others. Where have we failed?
The thing is planning. The man who has come to mine has applied for a license. I'm talking about, I think the question has to do with large-scale mining. They have applied for a license. They have agreed with government that they will pay taxes, they will pay royalties, and every thing that government has to gain from it, they will pay. So it is the responsibility of government to actually use the resources for the benefit of the people. And I'm being just primary in this. Of course, in this era of corporate social responsibility, companies are not absolved from contributing to local development. And I think that's very important. If you go to some of the mining communities, most of the things you see there would have been provided not by government, but by mining companies. It is not because they are not making enough noise about it. And people make argument about Obuasi and all that. If you go to places like the Daman, where Goldfields is, I'm just using one example, They have they have asphalted the road from Takwa to Daman, for example. This was at a cost of $30 million. This was done by a mining company. No government made any contribution. The water supply there done by mining company. A lot of other things done by the mining company. It is not enough. Now, if you look at maybe what they get, it's also very high. But that is the reason why you have taxes there, you have the royalties to be paid, and all that. And then the other general ancillary jobs that are supposed to be created. So it is for us to plan how to use our resources, how to use the benefit that come. If, for instance, in a year, government makes about 4 billion CDs or 40 billion CDs for whatever from maybe royalties alone from government, from mining, you have to question where that 40 billion was used. You need to find out. So if you don't see that, then you have to question our own government. And I'm not blaming any particular government at this stage, but I'm saying that we need to carve out what we do with our money. In fact, there's the concept of EITI, Extractive Industry Transparency Initiative, where questions are asked about what government receives and how it uses the resources that it receives. These are the areas that we should strengthen to ensure that we see the benefit. Even Obuasi, of all places, where everybody talks about 100 years and nothing has happened and all that, which I, to some extent, agree. A lot of things that are done in Obuasi are actually paid by the mines. Don't forget that the mines is the reason why Obuasi has become bigger. It's the same applies to Takwa. If you look at Takwa's economy, Takwa alone, the economy may be bigger than the economy, and I'm saying economy of, let's say, one of the regions. Because you have all the banks there, not because they like Takwa, but because there's mining activities. There are a lot of other ancillary activities there because they know the mining is a boost to that economy. But how to harness that, how to make sure they are well structured and they make meaning to us is something that we are missing. And maybe the academics will help us do that.
Well, Doc, it's been wonderful conversing with you, especially when we were talking about the part about what happened under you in an attempt to fight small-scale mining and perhaps the government at the time. Because in 2017, when this government came to power, the impression was created that there was never a fight at all. I don't know how that sounded to you back then.
Oh, well, it was the approach which was different. Remember, the previous government had, in 2013, attempted the same approach by using the military, as I indicated. They sent military people to go around to, remember, they arrested a lot of Chinese, they deported a lot of Chinese. And then it was also leading to confusion. Some people were dying or were being maimed in a way. So quickly, the government of the day saw that that was not the best way. So it charged the commission to come out with something that was effective but will not lead to chaos. And that is what we did. Let me say this. Just before the elections in 2016, this thing was ready, and the president at that time was going to launch it in Kumasi. I recall any time we tried to get it, he was so personally interested to ensure that there's a solution to this small-scale mining, illegal mining issue without creating a chaos. That he said he wanted to be part of it. He wanted to be part of it. And of course, being a president, being busy and all that, before we could say Jack, there was a change. So it is not true that nothing was being done. In fact, as I said, most of the things that we are seeing will not be anything new. There are things that others have done We had also done, put together some of them, and they were available. And this is what is going to come out by every means. That's what most of them will be. What has been done already. So, and of course, there's politics and there's reality. If the politician says nothing has been done, you must understand that no politician will go and praise the other side, even though that would have helped all of us if we were sincere enough. But we knew the records was also there that some efforts were going.